And welcome back. For our first interview of the night, we have journalist James O'Keefe of ProjectVeritas.com. He's with us to talk about his latest project where he and others offer gun-free zone signs to people such as Eric Holder. Can't wait to hear about that. He joins us now via Skype. Thanks for joining us, James.
Thanks for having me on the program.
Okay, now the project that interests me most, I've seen some of your other things, such as when you go out and you get Eric, or you're offered Eric Holder's voting registration, and you have other projects as well, as we may mention here a little bit later. But for right now, I want to start off by showing this clip of your latest project where you go out and hand out gun-free zone signs, or at least offer them to various members of the press and even Eric Holder. So let's take a look at that clip right now.
We are not afraid.
No guns, no violence.
No guns, no crime.
No guns, no murder.
Guns kill children.
Armed cops, not citizens.
The police will protect us.
Guns make good people do bad things.
Take all guns from everyone,
so no one else is harmed.
Anti-gun is pro-America.
We are not afraid. Join us.
Tell everyone your house is completely unprotected.
Tell them this is a gun-free zone.
Put a sign in your lawn that says no guns here.
We're not afraid.
We're defenseless.
We are not afraid.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Because there's strength in numbers.
A suburban New York City newspaper is in the middle of a big controversy this morning after it put up online the names and addresses of everyone with a gun permit.
We also know which houses don't have guns.
Since these reporters and editors did not consider it a violation of the privacy and safety of others to reveal which homes have guns and which homes don't, we went to see which of them would be willing to put up a sign publicly declaring their homes to be gun-free zones. While we didn't find any members of the media with the strength of their convictions, we did find quite a few guns and some good explanations for why they might be necessary.
So really hoping people will kind of lead by example in the community spot.
And advertise themselves as proudly, this home is proudly gun-free. Can we put you down for a sign?
In this neighborhood, nobody like puts out stuff like that. They actually publish a list of all of the gun owners.
And we're just doing the same thing. It's just people that don't.
The opposite,
yeah. It's just the opposite. So I mean,
no,
what's the difference, really?
Anyway, I do believe in it, but I think I'll pass on that.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hey, good morning.
We're with Citizens Against Senseless Violence. Is this?
I'm sorry, I can't tell. But good luck.
No.
You
don't care about children?
Is this? Well, we're just trying to get people to notice and to see these.
Other reasons I can't get into that.
Do you have guns?
I agree with you, and I am on your side on this, but I'm just wondering if that's not an invitation to somebody with a gun. You want to sign up?
I don't know. I want to think about it. I agree with you, but I'm not sure about the sign. For the purposes that you said.
Well, but you're concerned that if you say you're gun-free, somebody with a gun's going to come and...
I think, yeah.
But I put signs out. The problem in this town is, somebody driving by around here might think it's an invitation to come barging in. Well, if it said Citizens Against Senseless Violence, without this home is proudly gun-free, I would put the sign up. Yeah.
I agree with you in terms of gun control.
I'm sorry. Are you the same one that's on TV?
Yeah.
And so then we can assume that you're not a gun owner yourself and there are no guns there.
No, I'm not a gun owner.
What are the chances we could get something like on this door? I notice it's all like a glass door in the front, something that just says, this building proudly gun-free or something like that.
That I'd have to talk to my neighbors. I don't honestly don't know what they feel on this issue.
Thank you very much.
Yes, good luck, you guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi, we're Citizens Against Senseless Violence. We're going around.
This home is proudly gun-free. What does that mean? Well, you're against guns?
Proudly.
Yes.
We're against guns.
I'm not. Does that answer your question? Yeah, they put us down on that internet, and they put my wife's name by mistake.
Do you believe that?
They're against guns.
You're against guns?
Yeah, so I said I'm not.
Your neighbors, they said to come over.
Yeah, well, the only problem is we can't put it up. My wife works for the newspaper.
You leave a sign with you and you put it up when the time is right?
Yeah.
So you'll take it, you just want to keep it hidden?
For right now, you see this person here?
Yeah.
Her life's been threatened. I moved to Canada because I hated guns. The issue is never going to be guns. What the issue is that you got to get them back down to one bullet magazines. He's armed because of the threats.
Against you?
No, my wife. Show it to her.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we're with Citizens Against Senseless Violence.
Okay, I will definitely pass that along to them.
Well, this is our last one.
That's okay.
Unless they absolutely want it.
No, I'm sure they don't. I think they just want this all to go away. They don't want to publicize it any further than it already is.
Would you like a sign for your front yard?
I definitely do not think so.
Maybe she's putting on a robe or something. Where's she? We're being ignored.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
Okay.
Wait, they said that.
You can't record. Okay.
Okay.
It's against the law to record.
4 federal circuit courts of appeal have all agreed that recording police officers in their line of duty in public is fully protected under the First Amendment.
I actually think that the person whose doorbell you rang thought you were coming. I think they actually agree with that, and they thought you were coming from an oppositional. They phoned us because their president there is an employee of a company that is undergoing some backlash.
Morning. Is this your home here? No. We're the Citizens Against Senseless Violence.
This is private property, guys.
This is
private property. We want to call the police. Before I call the police. Private property.
We want to get them off the streets, out of our homes, away from our kids, out of our schools.
I understand that. This is private property. You can take that wherever you
Are you the homeowner here, sir?
Sir, I'm asking you nicely. I don't want to call the police. You're on private property.
This is actually not private property. It's private property when it starts right there.
Property? This one certainly is.
It starts right there.
Sir, 50 by 100 is a lot. That's private property. Unless you pay my taxes.
We're all
I do pay taxes.
We're all standing here in the public street. We're just trying to...
All right, next house.
A newly formed group called Citizens Against Senseless Violence, and we're just trying to get support from folks in the D.C. area to kind of promote the cause, no guns on the street, that kind of thing.
Right. They're not.
You don't know if they're like not allowed to have signs or anything like that.
Because there's none in the neighborhood.
They won't, but I don't know about anybody else.
You the homeowner here, sir?
I'm not. It's my parents' house, actually. I'm sure they would totally support what we're doing here, because, we're not gun owners or anything. I don't know if my father's kind of, I don't know if he'd want that, to be honest with you. I don't know if he'd want to advertise.
Thank you, you too.
We're Citizens Against Senseless Violence.
We're assuming this is a gun-free household. I hope that's correct.
Thank you for the visit, but I'm not going to take one of your signs. Actually,
appreciate what you're doing, but by the same token, I'm going to pass on the sign, okay? All right. Thank you very much.
Hi, we're with Citizens Against Senseless Violence. Can we sign you up?
No thanks.
Yeah, any particular reason? Are you gun owners?
I agree with you. I don't want to sign you up. Thank you very much.
Again, not a single member of the media willing to live up to the strength of their convictions. Now a final parting thought from our good friend Bob Braun at the Star-Ledger, which also wants to target law-abiding gun owners.
We're going to get a nasty note from one of my most progressive friends who says, because I wrote a column, I'm a columnist, and I wrote a column against for stricter gun laws, and he said, you're a fool because when the right wing takes over the government, we're going to need guns.
So he's worried the right wing's going to take over and then...
Yeah. And then there won't be guns to fight them back. So then I said to him, but they got the Army, you know, they got the Army and the Navy and the Marines and everything else. And he said, well, he said, there's going to be a revolution there too, but, you know.
Okay, James, so we just watched the video. Tell us how that came about and what prompted you to take those actions.
The first thing that we saw was David Gregory in Washington, D.C. on NBC News carry a gun clip on the air, a magazine, and he was not prosecuted for doing that.
I remember that, yeah.
And the second thing that happened is we saw in Westchester County, New York, they printed the names of all these law-abiding gun owners and outed them, neglecting their privacy concerns. They outed them as gun owners. So we thought, well, if they're willing to publicize the names of gun owners, what if we went to their homes, the homes of the journalists, the Fourth Estate, and even some politicians, and asked them to post a sign on their property saying, this house is proudly gun-free. And we got just unbelievably just hilarious and hypocritical reactions where people are actually offering justifications for the Second Amendment at their home. They say, I don't want to post that sign because someone might barge into my home.
Right.
One reporter for the Star-Ledger says it might be an invitation for someone with a gun.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and I'm looking at these people, these anti-gun advocates. Like you said, some of these people even took part in publishing the addresses of gun owners. But when you go to their homes, like one of the ladies you mentioned, and she says, no, I don't want that in my front yard. Why? Because somebody might break in. Really? Really? You think somebody may break into your house if you have a sign advertising that it's a gun-free zone? Who would have thunk it?
That's right. They also have armed guards. These individuals, these journalists are oftentimes wealthy or politically connected or powerful enough to be able to get 24/7 armed guards. And the irony is that, you know, one of the individuals, the publisher's husband for this newspaper, pointed to the armed guard and said, you know, we're armed. And then he says in the next sentence, I want to ban guns, get them down to 1-bullet magazines.
I remember that, yeah.
Unbelievable, just visual hypocrisy for the world to see.
And I'm so glad you guys did that, because you've done some other projects in the past, but I think this is by far your best that I've seen. This video definitely needs to go viral. Last time I checked, it was, I think, 160,000 hits on just that particular page I was looking at. But it's definitely a great illustration of the people we're dealing with, the great hypocrisy. You know, just like you said, these people have armed guards, and maybe they don't have to carry a gun because they have somebody carry a gun for them. But if you want a gun to arm your family, and lo and behold, it holds more than 10 bullets in the magazine, or 8 in the case of New York, then they want you to be arrested. They want you to put on these lists like some type of pedophile.
That's right. And it's also, you know, an issue where you're denying middle class and people who are less fortunate the ability to defend themselves. Only the rich, only the journalists, only the Fourth Estate, the people above the law, they can protect themselves. And in Westchester County, New York, where coincidentally our office at ProjectVeritas.com is located in Westchester, New York. If you wanted to apply to get a gun in this county, in New York State, you would have to go and interview with a police officer. And the first available interview to get approval from a police officer is in August.
Really?
That's the type of process to get a permit to own a gun in New York State. And so you don't even you can't even do it legally if you are privileged enough to get the approval. And these people have armed guards 24/7 guarding their properties because they can afford to. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely unconscionable, the type of things that our Fourth Estate is doing. And that's what we're trying to expose here.
Exactly. Now, we saw recently in New York, Mayor Cuomo, heavy gun restrictions. He says he doesn't even want you to have more than, I believe it's 8 bullets, different things such as that. And I believe it was Senator Ball from New York who brought up the example of a lady defending her children. And he said had she had 9 bullets in her gun instead of 6 or 7, whatever she had, she would have been a criminal defending herself in her own home.
Yeah, they passed a ban on anything over 7, 7 bullets for the magazines. And I assure you that some of those security guards probably have a few more than 7 bullets in their magazines currently. While the husband of the publisher for the Journal News is saying that we should have muskets with 1 bullet, his own armed security guard has, probably a Glock handgun that that has 10 bullets. So it's rich with irony. One of our other favorite moments was Toure from MSNBC, we visited him home in Brooklyn, New York, and we asked him to post a sign saying his house was proudly gun-free. Toure had previously demanded that the names of gun owners be published.
Right.
And he demanded that people have a right to know. Then when we asked Toure to publish a sign saying his home was gun-free, there's this hilarious moment where he's stuttering and stumbling and trying to come up with some excuse on why he should not advertise himself as being gun-free.
Exactly. And I remember that particular example. But I think my favorite part in the clip was when you go to the guy's house and you say, I think it was just a private citizen, say, hey, would you like to have this gun-free zone sign in front of your house? He said, man, I'm packing. He lifts up his shirt and he shows you his concealed weapon. He
lifted up his shirt and he said, I'm not against guns. Does that answer your question?
Right.
It's this very funny moment. You have to watch the video and see it because he just lifts up his shirt. And, I guess it's a more sensibly minded person than some of our other journalist friends.
Exactly. Now, we've seen in the media this demonization of Second Amendment, a lot of smoke and mirrors, because you get a lot of these guys, these late night guys, these talk guys, they say, hey, we just want to ban assault weapons. We just want to ban high capacity magazines. And then they follow it up. We have no problem with you defending yourself in your home. They always slide that in there. We just want to get rid of these big, powerful rifles, but you can defend yourself in your home. And then they say nobody's trying to take your guns. We see Senator Dianne Feinstein, who herself has a concealed weapon. She had the famous clip on 60 Minutes where she says, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, saying she wants to get rid of all guns. This Illinois Senate, who tried twice in a week, I believe once on the Sunday, to ban things as simple as pump-action shotguns. I mean, the hypocrisy of these people is just unfathomable.
What you're getting at is something that really, our video is resonating with the grassroots, and of course it's not resonating with the mainstream media, but it's resonating on Twitter and Facebook and all over America right now. What you're getting at is this notion that guns for me but not for thee.
Exactly.
That we measure the courage of their convictions and find out that these journalists and these politicians and these powerful people, they apply rules for everyone and they exempt themselves. It's do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly.
And I would respect them. I would respect if they were willing to put the sign in their lawn and be philosophically consistent. But they're not philosophically consistent. They project this policy and all these things, but they're frauds and cowards because they don't apply it to their own lives. And I think as citizen journalists, we need to do more of this. We need to expose hypocrisy and blatant corruption amongst our public officials. And that's what the point of the video was.
Exactly. It was a great video. So now if we could talk about another one of your videos. This one is a little older, but I watched this yesterday and I had a good laugh because I'd been familiar with some of your other videos, but this is my first time seeing this particular one. You dressed up as a pimp, I believe it was you, and you go to Project Acorn to get free housing for your prostitute friend.
Yeah. This was actually about 3 years ago. We went around the country and we posed as a pimp and a hooker, and we talked about starting a brothel and getting assistance from, at that point, it was taxpayer-funded Acorn. President Obama was an attorney for Acorn, and we caught all these Acorn employees on tape telling us how to classify our prostitutes as dependents on our tax forms and get tax credits for child prostitutes and various other corrupt and highly immoral activities. And President Obama voted to defund Acorn after these videos came out, and the House and Senate cut funding, and Acorn declared bankruptcy. We visited roughly a dozen offices, and every single office helped us with our faux prostitution scheme except one office. So it was remarkable, you know, the depth of corruption inside these sort of government-funded institutions that usually people don't really care to look into, and we went ahead and did something about it.
Some great journalism there. So let's take a look at one of those videos right now.
I can be the one who, I have documentation, right? So I can be the one basically put up the house for her, and then she can perform tricks in the house.
Yep.
Okay. I can be the one basically put up the house for her, and then she can perform tricks in the house.
Yep.
Okay.
The other thing is that you can buy the home, but if you buy a home, you have no knowledge of what's going on in that home. You just nothing but the landlord.
Say that again.
You have no knowledge of what's going on. You're just the landlord. I'm just keeping it real. You're just the landlord. Home, you have no knowledge of what's going on in that home. You have no knowledge of what's going on. I'm just keeping it real. You're just the landlord.
I'm just the landlord.
You're just the landlord.
Okay, so we saw that video, Project Acorn, and the corruption that goes on in there. You even tell these people straight up, hey, I'm bringing in underage prostitutes from, I believe it was Ecuador, and oh yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, we said we have a shipment from El Salvador of underage prostitutes, and Acorn, federally funded entity which received funding from the federal government, actually gave us advice on how to get around tax laws and skirt the law. And we did it in New York, we did it in Baltimore, California. Every single time we went in there, they tried to help us and give us advice on how to get a brothel, you know. Yeah,
and not just that, how not to get caught.
How not to get caught, keep the girls' mouth shut. There's just a treasure trove of quotes from YouTube that you can pull, and it was sort of a reinvention of guerrilla journalism, you know, old-fashioned undercover journalism that 60 Minutes used to do.
Right.
And we not only that, but our NPR videos have prompted the House of Representatives to issue a vote to defund National Public Radio. Our videos on voter fraud have resulted in Eric Holder being testifying before Congress. We've had multiple congressmen cite our voter fraud videos showing ballots being offered out to multiple people and dead people. But I think this newest video, I think, resonates with a lot of people because people tend to love the work we do. That it focuses on media corruption and media hypocrisy, and that's what this current video is about.
Exactly. Now, before we start this interview, you were telling me a little bit about your experiences with Planned Parenthood. Can you let our audience in on that?
That's actually how I got started doing some of this stuff nationally. I worked with a young woman named Lila Rose at UCLA, and we had the idea of going into these clinics and doing undercover films on what they would say when they're prompted with a question, you know, like, I'm 13 years old, I want an abortion. And they would often give us advice on how to break the law to, you know, get around statutory rape and things like that.
Oh my gosh.
So then we said, well, what if we took it a step further? What if we called Planned Parenthood posing as a racist donor whose intention is to abort African-American babies? And we gave the reason. We said, quote, there are too many black children in America, and we want to get rid of them. And we said this to one of the vice presidents, and she actually responded by saying, it's understandable, and she's excited to do this. And it prompted some resignations at Planned Parenthood and a boatload of national media coverage.
Wow. It's the power of the press. Like you said, this guerrilla journalism that's so strong that you do, Luke does up in New York, just a whole network of people. And we like to see more things like that. So what's next for Project Veritas?
We don't reveal the you know, the contents of our coming investigations, but there is more on this subject. We will be, you know, on the Second Amendment, there are a lot of issues and hypocrisy issues, corruption issues, fraud issues in the press and elsewhere, and there will be more like what you just saw coming out and hopefully very soon. Great, great. Closing comments, James O'Keefe. Please, if you support us, if you want us to make more of these videos, Project Veritas, that's Veritas.com. You can make a tax-deductible donation to assist with our journalism efforts. Great, and our audience can see it right there on the screen, Project Veritas, and you can see the gun violence sign on the screen. This house is proudly gun-free. So hopefully you can pass one or two of those out, and we'll see those in some politicians' lawn, some journalists' lawn. Thank you for your time, James O'Keefe. Thank you for having me.